Hey YouTube, it's me. See how it's me? I don't know why I say that. I don't know why I do that. Let me turn some air down in here. Hey. See how I'm in the car? I'm in the car. This is my third time driving. Yesterday, excuse me, yesterday, I drove solo into town so that I could see if I could handle it, or if something catastrophic was going to happen. And by catastrophic, honestly, what I mean is I just wasn't confident that maybe I wasn't going to go into town and get a little bit disoriented, confused. I was afraid that driving wouldn't feel second nature to me, but it was all fine. And then I did a lap through town, and then I turned around and went home, and I picked up my 3-year-old, and we went to Walmart. And so I navigated town again, and then Walmart, so that I ended up spending way too much money, as one does, but because I picked up other stuff while I was there. But the purpose was to go and so she could pick out her lunchbox and her water cup for school this year. She's my baby. She's getting really big, though. She's had a massive growth spurt. Anyway, so we did that, and we had a lot of fun. It was cool. She's so chill. She's so fun. We had fun. So anyway, now I'm sitting in the parking lot of my daughter's dance studio, and I say my daughter's dance studio. So this is my oldest daughter's 3rd year. But tomorrow, for the previous 2 years, my daughter's had everything on one night. Now she doesn't. And now this year, my younger daughter is starting up here, but she's doing a different lineup than my oldest daughter did. Different type of classes, whatever. So, because they do more than dance here, right? There's more going on up here besides dance. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. So, I'll be sitting up here a lot, I guess. So, let's talk about my birth story. I guess I can go ahead and take my sunglasses off. It doesn't feel like it's going to fry my eyeballs. So, I want to talk about my birth story. I want to do my birth story. I think I'm going to have to do it in sections, because, I'm just doing it for myself anyway, really. And I think I'm going to have to do it in sections just because of time, the kind of time that I have. And it's really weird. I kind of, and this and that, and I kind of get lost in my brain. It's really weird. It's really, I'm still kind of disassociated a little bit, I think. I'm having a great time with my newborn. It's not that. It's, I don't know. Okay, so let's start the birth story, because here's what's funny. So I had told everybody I didn't want to shower. A lot of people think that's really crazy, but I was like, I don't want to shower. And I have a pretty full list of reasons as to why I didn't want one. One of them being, oh, this car's backing up. One of them just being that, hang on a minute. Just a minute. All right, I don't know if that woman can see my phone or not. But anyway, so, one of the reasons I didn't want to have a shower, one of the many reasons I didn't want to have a shower, is just because this is my 3rd kid, right? So even though it's a boy, I still have a lot of stuff. I had specific items that I wanted to get to change out for the boy stuff. But I guess my viewpoint on it was, I have a sister-in-law that's got a son that's 6 months older than my son. I think that's right. That's still really weird to say. My son. That's really weird to say. But anyway, because like hashtag girl mom, you know what I'm saying? It was really weird. But anyway, so she was giving me like all her clothes. As far as, so far she's given me newborn and 0 to 3 months. And I just feel like at showers, like almost all you get is clothes. So even though our sons were born in different seasons, I went through like the clothes she gave me and I was like, I don't need much more than this. Really, I don't. I have a bassinet. I have 2 pack and plays. I bought a swing used. I still have a baby, like a bathtub. I have, I don't know. I had a lot of stuff. And so I was like, if we have a shower, again, amongst other reasons, but quite frankly, all these lovely, wonderful people that I love and appreciate would show up and they would just bring me crap I don't need, like, not for nothing, but, and here's the thing, I didn't end up having a shower. I still got some, like, duplicates and got, like, some stuff I just didn't need, even though it's very appreciated. I don't want to get on here and sound ugly. It's just, I spend my life going through stuff and getting rid of stuff, and then I just don't like for people to waste their money. It's like I was explaining to my mother-in-law the other day. I like for people to have a relationship. I think relationship is important. A relationship is so much more important to me than gifts. Gifts are amazing. I love to give. I love to receive. But, like I said, I just have so much stuff at my house that I don't mean to be rude by saying I don't like it for people to quote-unquote, like, waste their money. But what I mean is, like, I don't like for somebody to buy me, just for instance, I don't like for somebody to buy me a packet or a package or whatever of receiving blankets and then be all excited about these receiving blankets, and then somebody else gets me a package of receiving blankets, and then the first person is like, oh, well, now she's got like 8 receiving blankets. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so what I'm saying is my mother-in-law decided that it would be a good idea to have like a luncheon. And it was just going to be like close immediate family. And when I say close immediate family, I mean like mine and my husband's moms, the grandmas, and like my sister-in-laws. And that was it. And honestly, the sister-in-laws on my side were not even, they were invited. They were not even going to come. So it was just going to be a handful of us. That was it. And so it was scheduled. It was scheduled for the Sunday of like when I was 37 weeks. So here's what happened. Wednesday, well, no, let me roll it back, because I talked on this channel about my false labor story, where I was up a lot of one night timing contractions with Braxton Hicks, whatever. I was timing them and it was rough. And then the next day I had contractions all day, Braxton Hicks. They weren't as rough as the night before. And honestly, they weren't as close together as the night before either, but they were consistent. They just weren't consistently like close together. And then, so that was a Tuesday. Then a Wednesday, I had a doctor's appointment. I had my Group B swab, went in, talked to him, and he checked me, and I was a 1.5. Was dilated to a 1.5. And I was excited to hear that. I did share with him about like my false labor stuff. I told him about it, and he was not bothered. He's just like, yeah, this is your 3rd kid, and you're gonna be 37 weeks tomorrow. You're gonna have a lot of that. Just hang in there, And I was like, okay, good enough. What I noticed is after that doctor's appointment, things were just not the same. They weren't the same. I was so uncomfortable. Everything Everything anywhere that he would have been checking, I could just feel it. It was uncomfortable. Just all kinds of stuff. It was very uncool. And I was like, great. I can't wait to deal with this for 3 weeks. I don't think it's going to be 3 weeks because this is rough. Went to dinner at my grandma's that night. I could not eat anything. I was like, no. Sure can't. She was really upset about it, but I was like, I literally, she goes, well, if I would have known, I would have made something else. I said, it's not what you have. It's literally not what you have. It's just that I can't eat anything. She had a Rice Krispie treat, and I ate that. That was it. So, left there, went home, whatever, say la vie, got a full night's sleep. I woke up at 5 a.m. with a Braxton Hicks. That's what I thought. I was like, oh my gosh, this one's pretty intense. I guess I'll start timing them. It's pretty intense, not gonna lie. So I went about my merry way. I laid in the bed for a little bit, and I was like, okay, can't do this anymore. So I got up, and I'm meandering around about the house and deciding, okay, now I need to try to go. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And it was one of those things, because I had spontaneous labor once before, but I was like, okay, is this going to be a thing where I start going to the bathroom a lot? Maybe going number 2? Am I going to lose my mucus plug? So every time I went to the bathroom, I'm looking, whatever. Nothing. None of that happened. One time, maybe kind of a little bit, but other than that, there was nothing like on the paper or whatever. I was just like, boy, this sucks, man. And I was timing them, and they were pretty close together. And I was like, is this it? Now, here's what I want to say. Before I get into this story, please remember, my husband travels with his job some, And he wasn't home. Was not home for any of this. Everything this week, all the non-stress tests, wasn't here for any of that. He was gone for 2.5 weeks before. And so he just wasn't here, and he was supposed to be coming home that day. And I was like, okay, he had his flights booked and everything. And I had reached out to him whenever I had like this false labor stuff. And I was like, hey, you might want to consider getting a game plan for like coming home, Well, organically, he was supposed to come home that day. So I was like, maybe we can make it, or maybe this is nothing, or maybe this, or maybe, you don't know. So, my mom had been staying at my house so that I wouldn't be by myself in the event that I went into labor. Well, here we are. But I didn't know it. I was like, I could get there and they could send me home, and I don't know, and blah, 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 and this and that. I was just a nervous wreck about it. So, I was in the bathroom, and I heard my daughter talking. And then pretty soon I heard my mom and my daughter talking. And my daughter was worried about where I was at, because she saw that I wasn't in my bed and everything, and she's like, well, where is she? Where is she? So they're standing outside the bathroom door, and I hear my mom goes, Kristen? I said, yeah. She said, are you in the bathroom? I said, yeah. She said, are you in pain? I said, yeah. She said, uh-oh. And I know she was like, your husband isn't here. What are we going to do? And here's what's funny. If you know, you know. This happened the first time. But the first time, my husband was 5 hours away drive time. This time he was very far away. And it was going to take him longer to get home flying than 5 hours. I mean, it was just, it was an all-day thing, kind of. Well, I guess not an all-day thing, but he was due to be to us by 3:30 in the afternoon. He got the earliest flight he possibly could. He did that anyway, and it was a good thing, because he texted me, good morning, or whatever, and I texted him a screenshot of the app where I'd been timing contractions, and he saw the times, and he's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yep. So it didn't take long. My mom started telling me that I needed to call my mother-in-law, get my mother-in-law there. So eventually I did, because I was reluctant to do it, because I'm like, if they just go away, and I've woken her up, because this is like 6, I think I called her, it was like 6:30 or almost 6:30 or something like that. And I'm like, if I wake this woman up and then they go away, I'm going to feel really bad. If I wake this woman up and I wake her up, she calls her boss, says she can't come to work, gets to my house, and then it goes away, I'm going to feel super bad. And then if we go through all that and then we get going to the hospital or get to the hospital and they go away, I'm going to feel like the dumbest person on the face of the planet. Well, none of that is what actually happened, but that is what I was worried about. So I call her, and my husband says that I'm not direct enough with his mom, because her and I have a great relationship. It's all good. But he says I'm not direct enough with her. Because, and it's true, because I called him, I was like, hey, did I wake you up? I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay. What's going on? And I guess because I wasn't in a panic, I was like, so, hey, listen, I've been timing some contractions, and they're actually pretty close together and stuff. And they're pretty intense. So I was wondering if maybe, like, once you get woke up and stuff, if you could just go ahead and come over. And she's like, okay. And she's like, so are you giving yourself more time, or you need me to come over? I was like, yeah, I think it'd be a good idea if you just went ahead and came over. If you don't, is that okay? Are you going to be able to get off work? And she's like, yeah. Like, I think she really thought I was full of poo-poo. I think she thought so. So, she shows up to my house. And she has this little gown dress thing that I had on my list that she was going to give to me that Sunday when we had our luncheon. She just brought it over, and she said, I just thought you might like this now. And I was like, yeah, because I don't want to go to the hospital in what I'm wearing. So I changed, but over the course of changing and, stuff like that, my other kid's waking up. My mom's there. She's freaking out. My mother-in-law, I know she was, like, scratching her head like, well, this is a lot of hoopla for nothing, And then I'm trying to navigate all of it and work through some contractions. Well, I end up working through a contraction, 2 of them in front of her. And I think then she was like, oh, and she took it a little bit more seriously. And I had to work through a couple more contractions before we left. And then we left. My mom actually took the highway, which I was really grateful for, because we live like 45 minutes away from the hospital. And I thought, if she takes like back roads and stuff like this, is gonna suck, because I was having contractions, no lie, 3 minutes apart, and they were fairly intense. I mean, they weren't just like your run-of-the-mill, this is no big deal. Like, it really hurt. I was working through them. So we get to the hospital. She drops me off at the door. I was like, just drop me off, I'm gonna go up to labor and delivery. So I did. Buzz me in. And it's, what do you say? I hit the buzzer, and they're like, can I help you? And I know why. It's because people come up there, they see other people, they say, can I help you? And the person says, I'm here to see blah, blah, blah. And they buzz them in, and they tell them what room number to go to. Like, I get it. I know that. But she's like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm in labor. She's like, oh, buzz me right in. Then you go to the desk, and you have to give them your name, your number, your date of birth, your blah. You have to stand there and be like, here's all of my information. And then they're like, well, you're probably not really in labor, because you can stand here and give me all this information. I'm like, you need it. Okay, so then they take me to triage. And this is where I'm going to end this story, because class is almost over anyway. I want to talk about triage. And then I'm going to end part 1. And then my next video, I'm just going to get like right to the point instead of all this like updates and stuff, or at least that's my plan. So, they take me into triage. They're getting me strapped up. I'm working through contractions. It's miserable. They're monitoring everything. And of course that woman's like, my mom was looking at the monitor, and she's like, the woman was like, it's an external monitor, so however hard it says the contractions are, we don't go by that. My mom was like, okay. So she checks me. I want to establish something. Me being checked is so incredibly miserable. It is awful. Being checked is one of the worst parts of having a baby for me. I don't know if that's everybody's experience, but for me, heck yeah, it's awful. So anyway, she checks me. I'm having a terrible time. And before she even checks me though, she puts her hand on my belly and she goes, "Oh, your baby's floating." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Your baby's not even in the birth canal. He's floating." And I'm sitting there having these terrible contractions, and I'm like, "What?" Also, check your tone, please, ma'am. Because it was giving, "You're wasting our time." And I'm sure they have a lot of that. Like, hey, great. But I'm like, ugh. So then she checks me, and I'm still a 1.5. She tells me she's going to leave me there for an hour, and then she'll come back and check me. And if I haven't progressed anymore, they'll send me on my way. And if I have, they'll reevaluate. And she did not think that I was going to be progressing, because I was exactly where I was the day before. And she was very matter-of-fact about it. She told me how many contractions she had when she was pregnant. And it's just, it's like I was being a baby. There was a lot. And I liked that woman. It's not that I didn't. I had a lot of great staff. But I will say, my experience with my daughter that I had in this hospital versus my son, night and day difference. I felt very, gaslit and patronized a lot of times, which was really unfortunate, even by the staff members I ended up really liking. It just always felt like they approached me less like, "Oh, this is her third kid. She probably knows what she's doing." Or, she probably knows her body. She's 37 almost. It was less that, and it was more like, she don't know anything, And I even got treated a little bit at times like I wasn't taking care of my baby. Which I was like, until they hung out with me a little bit and saw how I was handling him. And then it was different. They took me seriously. But at first, and I was like, I don't know about all this. Anyway, so this woman had this air about her, and she does all that. And then I asked for Tylenol. She brought me the Tylenol, and she bebopped out of my room. And I laid there, and I muddled through it for an hour. She came back, and I was dilated to a 3. On my own. I'm going to end this video, but I do want to talk about how major that is for me, because I've never completed on my own. I have always had some form of drug induction, because I've never completed on my own. Like, I would never dilate much, I have more insight as to why that might be now, but this was interesting to me because I was completing on my own. So in a matter of an hour, which, like I said, the day before I was at a 1.5, but in a matter of an hour I went from a 1.5 to a 3 on my own. And truly what I can say about that is, what I noticed as a trend throughout the entire labor process was every time I got checked, things changed. They shifted and changed really quickly for me. So that's the end of part 1. Once she checked me and I was at a 3, she went and she talked to my doctor and they decided to admit me. So they moved me from triage to an actual labor and delivery room. So that's where I'm going to pick up the story, is at the labor and delivery room. And kind of go into more the day leading up to delivery, probably, at least. Yeah. Maybe I'll even get through delivery. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.